Now back to one of our leading stories. There are growing calls for justice for the slain whistleblower Babita Deokaran 4 years since a brutal assassination. Deokaran's family is now pleading for President Cyril Ramaphosa's intervention in the matter. Now, for more on the protection of whistleblowers or lack thereof, I'm joined by Dr. Johandri Wright, a Post-Doctoral Fellow at the University of Western Cape's Dullah Omar Institute. Doctor, appreciate your time. Now, the Deokaran family is pleading with President Cyril Ramaphosa to assist in the matter. Just how critical is his involvement, or how much does it speak to the absence of justice?
Thank you so much for having me this afternoon. So unfortunately, I don't carry any personal information on the investigation or have detailed knowledge thereof. So I cannot give my informed opinion on the trends of the investigation or where they are at. But I also think that's one side of justice for Babita, and maybe one of the other questions we should start to ask is what happened to the information that she actually provided? And are they actually investigating, following up on the report that she made? If nothing changes, then the people behind the corruption that she tried to expose, then they've won. And then really her sacrifice would have been in vain.
Now, Dr. Wright, your research points to significant gaps in our current laws. In simple terms, what are the one or two most critical weaknesses in South Africa's whistleblower protection framework that leave people vulnerable?
So firstly, I would say it is that we do not have a definition for whistleblowers. So we do define what is a protected disclosure, and everyone that makes a protected disclosure is entitled to certain protections from occupational detriment, which is just wholly not enough. We need to have a very broader definition to describe exactly who is a whistleblower. And then we need to go beyond just stating that they are safe from occupational detriment, when we have so clearly seen that it's a lot more that happened to whistleblowers than them simply being fired or disciplinary action being imposed on them.
Now, the case of Babita Deokaran is a national tragedy, if you will. The hitmen are in jail, but the mastermind remains free. Why is it so difficult to prosecute the powerful individuals who sometimes order these acts, and what specific legal changes are needed to ensure that they are held accountable?
So again, on the investigations, I suppose it all depends on more where evidence leads and where the information is that our police is at. But it also points to the reliability of our institutions. So I think we have a lot of public trust diminishing, and we're losing trust in our law enforcement agencies in, just trusting that they actually do what they're supposed to do to hold those people accountable. And I also think the real measure of honoring whistleblowers is not only having their killers brought to justice, but also acting on the corruption that they expose. So the evidence seems to be largely ignored. And this signals that whistleblowing is futile, and that's a very true danger in our system at the moment. I think part of Babita's legacy should actually be that whistleblower information and the reports that they make would lead to real accountability.
Now, what is the absence of prosecution in many instances, but particularly of the powerful people behind some of these crimes? What does it do to the likelihood of other whistleblowers coming to the fore? Does it discourage them in a way?
So this is more of a feel what the people feel on the ground type of thing. It's not a legal question, but I would imagine if nothing happens to whistleblower reports and you endanger your life by making that report, that it would discourage whistleblowing in its entirety. I mean, what would be the point if nothing happens to the information you expose? You endanger yourself in so many ways. Why would you then make whistleblowing reports if it does not lead to anything tangible in the end?
Now, Dr. Wright, you propose that the new Anti-Corruption Commission should be the central body for protecting whistleblowers. Explain your thinking there.
So it's not that I propose it should be. It's just one of the ideas that I think, while we want to lean towards instilling an anti-corruption institution as a Chapter 9 institution, which would be similar to the Public Protector or the Human Rights Commission, that maybe it is also an opportunity to have a whistleblowing institution, and that anti-corruption commission could be one of the best potential institutions then to encompass that as well. It's not to say that we need another Chapter 9 institution. The Public Protector, for example, is also very well placed to offer whistleblower protection if they just make a couple of institutional reforms and maybe reorganize things. But since our government seems to be leaning towards wanting an anti-corruption commission, it could be a very good opportunity to also make that commission then responsible for enforcing and implementing whistleblower protection programs.
For ordinary citizens who see corruption in their municipality or workplace, the process of blowing the whistle seems rather daunting and is dangerous, as evidenced by the number of deaths that we've seen. What is the very first step they should take to maximize their safety and the impact of their disclosure?
So I would say try and stay anonymous. It's very difficult at the moment to be a whistleblower if you're just an ordinary resident at a municipality, because you will not be able to claim any legal protection under our Protected Disclosures Act. The Protected Disclosures Act, as it stands at the moment, only protects people if there is some form of employer-employee relationship. And since you're just an ordinary resident, you will not qualify for any legal protection under the Protected Disclosures Act. And unless you are called to be a witness in some form of criminal proceedings, you won't be able to get any protection under the Witness Protection Act either.
Dr. Wright, what is the most important lesson that you've learnt in your communication and various discussions with whistleblowers around what protection they need, they actually feel they need, versus what government thinks they need?
So I've only done strictly doctrinal legal analysis on our whistleblower protection law. I have not spoken to any whistleblowers or had any interviews. I followed newspaper articles very closely and investigative journalism. So I draw a lot of experiences from that. So I wouldn't be able to tell you how they feel. I can, however, point to the shortcomings in our whistle protection laws, such as that we do not have a proper definition for whistleblowers yet. We also have a very strict definition for retaliation and the like.
Okay, that's where we'll leave that conversation. Dr. Johandri Wright, Post-Doctoral Fellow at the University of Western Cape's Dullah Omar Institute, speaking to us around some of the laws and challenges around whistleblowers.